Hello and welcome to Talking WoW, the podcast where we talk about World of Warcraft, believe it or not. My name is Tom, and today we're going to be talking about the trading post, 1 year on. To do that, I'm joined by my co-host for Talking WoW. It's Marty. Hey, Marty.
Hello there. I am standing at the trading post and I've bought everything, Tom, but I want to buy more.
Yeah, you've got no tendies left, do you? You're one of these people that spend. Never save any tendies for a rainy day.
So how I look at it is that tendies are Tenders, right?
Tenders. The cool kids call them tendies, Marty. So, get down with the cool kids or be left behind.
All right, I'm old. Tenders. My opinion on it is that it's a game. Game has resources and you need to spend your resources because if not, then you're just wasting them.
That's a very, to the point answer there. But, I'm someone that likes to keep my tendies under the floorboards because you just never know when you're going to need tendies in the future. If you spend all your tendies, how are you going to spend them in the future on something else, or if that 1 month where you need to buy absolutely everything from the trading post. But no, obviously it's been a year, Marty, hasn't it? It's been a year, and 1 year ago we had the introduction of the trading post, which got people very excited. Some people a bit skeptical because they thought it was a battle pass. Apparently it's still not a battle pass. And we actually recorded an episode a year ago with the wonderful Syl where we sat down and talked about our initial reactions of this feature, which I think it's constantly talked about, isn't it? Because it's a monthly thing. We get these new rewards every month. So it always feels like it's in the narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we were both interested in seeing is, can Blizzard actually keep up with this? Can they add new stuff in the future that everyone would still be interested in and things like that, and how they're going to handle all that? And, it's been a year. I think we have a little bit of an initial answer to that.
Yeah, so, this feature came along, and I think if we go back and look at, our initial reactions to the trading post, I think we were excited. We were like, oh, this is cool, new items, new mounts every month, new pets, new things to hold in your character's hands, and that's just getting more of those things. And I suppose the concern there was, oh, you're getting these tendies or tenders, as Marty likes to call them, and you're going to get those every month, but hey, you're not probably going to be able to buy everything. And it's not even probably not going to be. You cannot buy everything. That's just the nature of the game. But then again, I think it's also adds to, you have to figure out, oh, what do I want the most? What do I actually, is this going to, do I just want to get this to complete everything, or do I actually want it because I want it? And even in life, I can't afford everything that I just look at and want to have in my life. So I have to. You can. You're a podcaster. You make enough money to buy everything, no?
Yeah, sure. So, even in real life, you have to prioritize, when are you getting what and what do you want and need the most. So, it's fine. That's just how it is. Right?
Yeah, just like real life, you have to save your money, save your tenders for those days, those months when suddenly you have a bit more, things you want to buy.
You're mistaken. It's a resource and you need to use it.
So, yeah, we're obviously having a little bit of a debate on the great tender debate, and it came clear to me a few weeks ago that actually I don't really spend that many tenders. I use this feature every month. I do the Traveler's Log, which that's something we haven't talked about yet. I think it's really cool tech, and maybe something we'll see used in warbands, just to mention that in this episode. And that whole cross-account, cross-character progression with, doing these little goals every month, Marty, doing so many quests, doing so many dungeons, doing so many raids. That's pretty cool, isn't it, to, jump on your various characters and get progress towards that?
It is 100% cool that you can do it on multiple characters, and then you're not just tied into one specific character like you are a lot of the other systems. So yeah, it's definitely cool. It's also something where, you know, you can totally go in and try and get it all done in one day, so you can get all your tenders, save them or spend them, or you can also just be like, I'll just play the game this month, and then most of the time you would probably just, you know, if you're playing the game, you'll just complete it automatically. I mean, I think the first few months I went ham on them to make sure that I had everything, but then it slowly just turned into, you know what, I'm just playing the game, I'm raiding regularly, I'm doing Mythic Plus regularly, and if you do those two things on the regular, then you don't have to worry too much about getting everything done. So I think it's in a really, really good sweet spot.
Yeah, no, I think I have to agree there, because there's never really been a situation in the last year where I've been like, oh my goodness, like if you're just playing WoW, if you're just playing the game, like you will unlock most of these things and you will complete your Traveler's Log every month without even having to worry about it. I know myself, I'm more like, I want to get this done in the first few days of the month so I don't have to worry about, you know, forgetting about it as you do. And I think, you know, as we move towards that between expansion moment, I think that's even more important, because maybe you're not playing as much as normal, maybe you're playing, you know, other games. Who does that, Marty? I don't know. And you just want to, you know, make sure that's done, because, you know, that's a big part of your currency that you get from doing the Traveler's Log as well, because you obviously get some currency every month just for, you know, clicking a chest in Stormwind, or, you know, other capital cities are available. And that adds to your pool, and then you go in, and it's sort of like a ritual now, isn't it? Like every month you're like, okay, what's in the trading post? And oh my goodness, it's that mount that was in the Refer a Friend, the zebra. I can't believe they've done that. I can't believe they've got to put that mount there. And suddenly, you know, you're seeing items maybe from the trading card game. You're seeing these Recruit a Friend items appearing here as well. Like, how has that felt for you, Marty, seeing like items that you maybe would never have acquired before popping up in the trading post? Like, do you think that's good, or do you think it's ruining the fact that these items were once special and a bit more unique?
I think it depends. I don't think it's always a good thing, but to have a few examples. So you brought up the old Recruiter Friend stuff that you cannot get any longer. I don't know exactly how old that is. It could also just be some of the old trading card stuff that you cannot get any longer. I think those things that are, you know, what are they, 20 years old? Almost 15 years old maybe. I think it's all right. I don't think it matters that much any longer, because we are 15 years into the future, and you know, the game has changed a lot. But then there was I don't know if it was a forum post or whatever it was, where someone said something along the lines of, "Oh, now they're going to put the auction house mount into the trading post." And obviously there was a huge uproar, and it turned out that the post was fake, and that it wasn't an actual thing, that they're not going to do that. Blizzard actually came out and said, yeah, no, this is not going to happen, because it's something that was specific to something that is fairly new, and we don't want, to take away from what that meant to get those things. So I definitely think there's a difference between if it's something that has happened recent, don't take that specialness away from it. But in 10 years from now, I think it's fine if you're able to buy the auction house mount on the trading house, something like that, So towards the end of the new trilogy, then it's fine to put the auction house mount in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like yes and no, because we've moved so far along in Warcraft now that what is special anymore? I mean, you can just buy gold now, right? So you can literally, anything that you can buy in game with gold, you could buy it with real money. So that sort of aspect of prestige, I think, has slowly withered away over the years anyway. And I'm sort of at the point where I'm like, does that even matter anymore? I know some people really, these collections and these accounts, it's just so precious to them. But I'm sort of do I care anymore?
I think there's a huge difference as well if it's something that you obtained outside of the game and inside of the game. Because, for instance, the trading card thing is something that you had to be lucky outside of the game. So there's nothing, special about, it's not tied to something you did. But if we take the Pandaria challenge mode transmog set. If that became available, I think I would be a little bit salty because I did that and it was a huge achievement back then. So I think there's something different tied to it. It's not because that's something I did, whereas being lucky outside of the game by buying the correct trading card game is different, in my opinion.
Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, Marty, but that is coming to the trading post next month. Just speaking of something, I guess that also has probably been getting up people's noses a little bit is the fact that Tendies have started being included in like other Blizzard shop items and bundles. So I don't know if you've been out there like buying anything on the Blizzard shop. I mean, it's Marty probably, but but like, how does that feel to you? Like the fact that Tendies have made their way into, or Tenders, sorry, have made their way into maybe other, there's other ways to acquire them. Like, how does that sit with you?
I mean, I think that's a whole different conversation as well, because that's probably a conversation about what should you actually be able to buy and what should you not be able to buy in shops and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think that it sits well with me. I think that I like the whole approach that it's something that you work for in game, so that you can buy it outside the game. I don't think sits super well with me.
I mean, one of the biggest complaints, isn't it, from what I'm reading in the general community is, we don't have enough tenders, like we can't buy everything. And that's kind of the point, I think, of it as well, because if every month you could just go in and buy everything, then there's no real choice to it, is there? There's no real thought behind it. And actually something, and maybe I'm in the minority here, maybe I'm just weird, but I actually like the fact that I have a certain amount of tenders and I go into that trading post and I go, okay, well, that I really want that.
But do you? But do you really want that? Because are you even spending your tenders?
Occasionally I do part ways. But it actually becomes like a bit of a thought process to me of like saying, okay, well, I want this, I don't want this. Or do I want this? And I think about it and I don't know. I think at this stage, like in my life, I tend not to really get attached too much to digital items. And I know, like, and I'm not like shitting on anyone that enjoys collecting and everything like that, because I think it's fun, I think it's great, and I think it adds a lot to the game. But I know there's just this aspect of people need to own everything and have everything. And I don't know, if you just look back at everything in Warcraft and everything in the game, it feels very unlikely that you're ever going to own everything. So, and I think I probably said that when we recorded a year ago. It's just, I don't know, I feel like you need to make peace with that, or the trading post is going to hurt you. And I don't think the trading post should hurt you, because it's something that happens every month. And it's actually pretty cool, in my opinion, that we have this thing that I actually usually forget about when the first of the month comes around. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I need to log in and see what's going on there. And there's been some pretty cool like transmog items in there. There's been some mounts, there's been some pets. I wouldn't say it's blown me away. I absolutely wouldn't say that this feature like has knocked me off my seat, but I think it's a neat little addition, and it rewards you for having a subscription in a way that you go in and play the game and you get some currency and you can redeem some extra items from that you previously wouldn't a year ago. Yeah,
I think I can agree with you there. And to be fair, I thought a bit more about as well while you were speaking that I actually don't think I mind so much that you're able to buy tenders outside, because
what was the U-turn?
I mean, I still think it should be obtained mainly in game. I don't think you should be able to straight up buy tenders like you can buy gold. I don't think we ever want to get to a stage like that, because you're right. Having to manage that choice, what do we actually want this month? It's very important. Else they might just give it to us for free. Everything. But then again, also remember, this is not player power at all. This is 100% cosmetic. Not everyone will like everything, so I think it's fine.
Really, Marty, are you saying that people logged in February 2024 to World of Warcraft trading post and they saw all these items that were pink and had hearts on them, and everyone in the World of Warcraft didn't like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not something. it's not the type of Transmog I collect, for instance. I think these are
I've seen screenshots that prove otherwise, to be fair.
Oh, I was bullied into buying those items. I was bullied.
Sure.
I think this episode is over. I'm leaving.
Well, before we leave, Marty, and, here is a beautiful screenshot of Marty's Transmog. So, there's no getting away from that, Marty. We asked, didn't we? We asked the World of Warcraft what they thought of the trading post a year on. And we got some feedback, Marty, didn't we?
We did. We got some feedback, and I can talk to you about the first one, which is from Nesor, who says, we got a lot of unique transmogs out of there, so positive no matter the flaws.
Yeah, and also we had Brandon who said, add more tendies or make things cost less. We aren't buying your bundles. A pretty strong opinion there regarding bundles and tendies.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not buying bundles. Next up, we have Grimo, who says, I've never actually bought anything. I've frozen things a couple of times, but never really wanted to buy anything from it. And you know what?
Oh my God, was that me? Did I write that on my alt account?
But you know what? That's absolutely fine.
Up next, we have Sean from Recruit a Friend. Hey, Sean. Love you, buddy. Huge fan of the trading post. I love Transmog. I was worried I'd have bad FOMO due to limited tenders, but I have always had enough to buy what I want with hundreds left over. That's how you do it, Sean.
There you go, Tom. Something you could learn from.
Actually spending them, yes. Maybe one day.
Last up, we have Cloda Lunaria, who says, I adore it. So do we.
Do we? Well, yes. I think overall we do, and we've been enjoying the trading post so far. But, there is people out there that will always be unhappy, I suppose, with something like this as well because of potential limitations. But I don't know, Marty. I don't know. Like, what do you think? Do you think, this is still going to be something in a year's time that we're going to be happy about?
I think so. It's basically free transmogs. You have to work a little bit for it. That's perfectly fine. And you can pick and choose. There's no randomness to it. I think this is a pretty good system. I think it's a pretty solid system. And if you don't like it, it's perfectly fine. There's other stuff you can do out there, like pet battling.
And that is what we thought about the trading post 1 year on. But Terry, don't listen to us. Tell us what you think, because we could be totally wrong. You can do that in the places that you can do that. On YouTube, you can leave a comment. Social media, we're around there too. And you can find us in all those places pretty much. But that's all we had for you on this episode of Talking WoW. I've been Tom, the Tendy Saver. And that's been Marty, the Tendy Spender.
And we've been Talking WoW.
Thanks for tuning in, champion. Did you enjoy this episode of Talking WoW? If so, why not drop a review on your podcast catcher of choice, or leave us a comment. You can find Talking WoW on Twitter or YouTube over at Talking WoW. Hope to see you again soon.